Explain it like I'm 5. Now, this one's a little bit different. We got a message from Jay on Instagram that Jeremy forwarded to me. And it's a graphic and it says the entire US economy right now is 7 companies sending $1 trillion back and forth to each other. So tell us, is this true? And what does it mean? Can you explain it like I'm 5? Is that even possible?
So this is the most complicated shit I can think of. And you're asking me to explain to a
sent it
5-year-old.
to me.
Well, I'm talking. You're always like, you're the voice of the audience here, Jen. And so you always feel like I'm complaining to you. I'm complaining to people who ask me to explain this stuff simply.
Fair.
I'm doing my best. I'll do my best.
Okay.
And so in the AI world, I'm going to make this much more simple than it really is because I'm trying to explain it like you're 5. But in the AI world, there's a company called OpenAI who makes ChatGPT. And if you haven't heard of ChatGPT, just
you're living under a
segment.
rock,
right? Like this won't make any sense. But it's a very popular, AI tool. But OpenAI just kind of does the AI part. They don't actually own computers and warehouses and stuff like that. So there's other companies like Oracle that basically sells compute. And so OpenAI, if they want to make ChatGPT run, they rent basically computer time, server time from a company like Oracle. There's other companies like that too, like Microsoft and Amazon AWS. And then Oracle, they don't actually make computers and computer chips. They actually have to buy their computer chips to like build these warehouses, and they buy computer chips from a company that designs and makes computer chips like NVIDIA. And so there's like these 3 big types of companies. The AI software companies like OpenAI / ChatGPT, the server compute selling data warehousing companies like Oracle and Microsoft, and then the chip designing companies like NVIDIA and AMD. And what's going on right now is there's basically these deals being struck. So for example, NVIDIA invested $100 billion in OpenAI, and then OpenAI turned around and agreed to buy $100 billion worth of chips from NVIDIA. OpenAI had this huge deal to buy compute from Oracle. Oracle then went to buy chips from NVIDIA, and NVIDIA has this money now to invest more in OpenAI. And this graphic is basically like all these crazy arrows, all money going back and forth. And at the core of it, the question is like, is anyone making money right now, or is it just like passing money back and forth? And so here's the analogy. This is where the 5-year-olds wake up. 5-year-olds. This is where it's gonna.
I'm up.
This
is you say 39-year-olds. Did you say 5-year-olds?
Yeah, either way. So imagine there's a town that's never seen donuts before, and this new donut shop comes to town and says, "Hey guys, I'm going to blow your mind. This new breakfast food called a donut is the best. It's sugar, it's flour, you're going to love it." And so they're going to start selling donuts, but they don't have the flour. So then there's a flour company in town who's like, "Guess what? I'm going to buy flour." And then the donut company's like, "Great, we're going to need a lot of flour." And then this kitchen renting companies in town says, "Hey, you're going to need kitchens stocked with ovens." And so then this donut company's like, "All right, I'm going to rent some kitchens. I'm going to buy some flour." And then like these 3 companies are basically all saying, this is the next hot thing. Everyone's going to love these donuts. And so the flour company gives them, money to the donut company. The donut company gives money to the kitchen company. The kitchen company gives money to the flour company. And it's all going back and forth. Right. And then the question that like no one's asking. So then you ask, how are these companies doing? Donut company says, "We're doing great. We're making tons of donuts because we got this investment from the flour company and we're making tons of donuts." Kitchen company says, "We're doing great. Donut company is renting all of our kitchens from us because they're going to make all these donuts." And the flour company says, "We're doing great. Flour sales are booming. Look at all those donuts that are being made. Flour sales are booming." Then here's like the question that like the townspeople are asking, like, and here it is. Is anyone buying donuts or enough donuts? Because these 3 companies are just like off going to town, like running their own donut empire. But is anyone buying actual donuts? And so to bring it back to the analogy of OpenAI just raised $40 billion. on a $300 billion valuation. So it says their company's worth $300 billion. And Sam Altman says they're on track to do $20 billion in sales, top line revenue this year. And they've agreed to purchase 1.4 trillion. This gets crazy. I'm going to bring it back
What
to
does that
donuts.
even mean?
I don't even know what it is. It's even more zeros. In infrastructure deals. They're like, okay, we're going to go buy, so basically like this is like back in donut world, this is like the donut company saying, hey, we plan to sell, year's not even over yet, but we think when the year is over, we're going to sell $20,000 worth of donuts. I scaled this down to numbers maybe we can wrap our head around. Right. $20,000. Like, $20,000, not a bad little donut business, like, not a full-time job. And that, by the way, that's not even profit, right? That's just how much they sell. So out of 20,000, what can you actually live on? Very little, if anything, right? So we plan to sell $20,000 worth of donuts this year. And also, we're going to spend $1.4 million on kitchen rentals and flour. That's like a big scale difference, right?
Right,
like they're selling $20,000 donuts, but they've agreed to purchase $1.4 million.
Even when you scale it down, you still got to $1.4 million.
I know. Even the scale down thing is like hard. Like, was that enough? Like, no. It's like, imagine you were making $20,000 a year from your job. Would you be buying $1.4 million worth of anything? And and again, that's not even their profit. That's like not their take home. That's their sales. If their profit is like hugely in the negative, right? So, what does this all mean? This is what people want to know. They're like, are we doomed? Is this just a like massive Death Star that's going to crash and all implode under its own weight? There's two schools of thoughts. The pessimists are like, this math isn't penciling out. It's this like making $20,000 a year selling donuts and spending $1.4 million on kitchens and flour. That's going to, once investors stop just fueling this and they stop, the loans and the investors stop funneling all this money to like make this, fiction continue to not, go broke. One of these days the checks are going to bounce, and then what's going to happen to stock prices? And a lot of people say the whole S&P 500 has been basically not doing very well, but for these 7 companies who are doing artificially well. And so when that fiction goes away, the whole economy is going to like crumble. That's the pessimist view. The optimist view is donuts are so darn good and nobody knows it yet. And you just wait, because people are going to be buying up donuts like crazy. And
well, which camp are you in?
Well, the reality is, I'm a Boglehead. I'm a index fund. I guess I'm a pacifist in the finance world. And my opinion is, the truth is this balance between these two camps, right? The people who don't believe it are saying, I'm going to short sell NVIDIA. I'm going to short sell. I'm not going to invest in OpenAI. I'm going to short sell Oracle, whatever it is. Right. And the believers are like, dude, I'm going to be buying up AI stocks now. So in 2040, when it's 100 times bigger than it is today, I get a piece of that. And the current stock prices of that stock and every stock in the market is the balance of those two things. And so we don't know. And what am I going to do about it is, I know exactly what that is. Nothing. Nothing. It's the best answer as always, because it's going to shake its way out. This definitely reminds me of the .com bubble back in the late 90s, which I was alive for. I'm 45 now. And so I remember that, where these companies were getting these crazy valuations, crazy investments, crazy, because everyone knew that the internet was a transformative technology and it was going to change everything. And so money has flowed in, but then like the bubble popped in the year 2000. And then for 10 years, the stock market was basically flat. If you invested at the peak in the end of 1999, you basically 10 years later, you have about the same amount of money after the .com crash and the financial crisis of '08, which is what they call the lost decade, which is very bad to invest for 10 years and have the same amount of money. You want your money to go up, right? So that could happen again. Or some people are saying, well, those companies they weren't selling $20,000 of donuts. They just had an idea that a donut could exist, and they didn't sell any donuts. And so now like NVIDIA, Microsoft, Oracle, like these companies actually have revenue. It's not the same. And, and the answer is, I don't know. And so am I sure there's going to be a dead dead decade or a lost decade of 10 years in front of us? No, of course not. If I was sure of that, I would do something of it. But no one's sure of any of that. So I'm just going to keep doing the normal thing, which is acquiring more and more shares of my index fund that includes these crazy big companies, includes the small companies, includes the old Amazon, the next Amazon, doing all that. And whether there's a crash or not, in 10, 15, 20 years, it's all going to shake out. I'm going to own a lot of shares and still be doing great.
Wow. Okay, so when it comes to 7 companies, $1 trillion, you said my name's Bennett and I ain't in it. That's what you said? You said you're not doing nothing about it?
Yes.
You
Bennett?
look
Is that
so
what you
good.
said? I don't know if you
Yeah, you
even.
never heard that? My
My
name's
name's.
Bennett and I ain't in it.
Oh, yeah. That's what I say about everything. I just sleep like a
Nothing to do
baby.
with you.
Yeah. And the thing is, people get so focused. I mean, I'm kind of going off the rails here, but people get so focused on these macroeconomic things.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, what's the future of AI? Like me as like a little Jeremy living in San Diego, I'm gonna like make some moves and like, nimbly navigate these it's like a freighter coming through and you're
Mm-hmm.
like paddling in the kayak. You're like, I'm just gonna like nimbly like no, dude, that freighter's gonna do what that freighter's gonna do.
Right.
Like if you want to help your own cause. I'm just now making up metaphors on the fly here. Like, focus on your paddling, like
Yeah.
focus on where you're going. Pay down your debt, buy more shares, buy and hold. The
Yeah.
things that you can control. Don't try to nimbly get in and out of the market based on when you think this freighter is going to get here and when it's going to move, because it's not going to work. It's just going to be much more likely to hurt you than help you.
Okay, 5-year-olds, stay the course. You heard the man.